All right, so continuing to detail and work on these whiskers, erasing them out. The reason this project is one step more difficult than the landscape composite is that we want the whole creature from head to toe on a blank background. So we're not just worried about cropping to a nice image, we're worried about every edge around our creature. We don't want it to be too soft, we don't want it to be too hard. We want it to be believable. And then when we bring our creature into our landscape, that will do a lot of the hard work for us. It will just match. We won't have to erase away a lot more. So as I'm zoomed in, I see like little things I can erase. And that's just how it is. You clean it up as we go. But because they're on separate layers, I'm pretty safe. And if I really want to get in there, I can zoom in and use the pressure-sensitive tablet, which really help cut things out. Or when I'm zoomed in, I can use the lasso. And now that I'm zoomed in, each controlled mark is a little bit easier. And I can just take chunks away. But with pixels this small, because we're really zoomed in, and so spaced together, I'm not going to use the magic wand tool because that will leave holes in it. And we can't have little fragments of whisker just floating on their own. That would not be believable. So you can see how that gray background, instead of the white, just is a little bit easier on the eyes, and you can see the edges that need to be controlled a little bit better. Where are we? Almost there. You can also always use Refine Edge to kind of bite away, soften it up, get some of that shadow out of there. Oh, too much. Little goes a long way. Actually, way too much. Let me change my settings since I'm so zoomed in. Not have it smooth nearly as much. All right. So this gives you really good practice with your tablet, tracing the outlines of things. Now, some of you might have been smart and only used textures that were a little bit smoother, not so bristly. I think I'm getting into the interior now. Yep. And so some of those shadows I can use as overlap. So I'll keep my selection, but then I'll use my eraser. And I'll erase away until the overlap, and then I'll use a lower opacity soft eraser. To start transitioning these shadows into what's behind them. There we go. So I do more work than we need to. Okay, so I've got that cut out. Now we've got the body itself. There it is. Let's play with its level. Guess I need to do the tusk as well. Darken it a little bit. Brighten its highlights just a touch. Limit its shadows. I think I'm going to have to desaturate it a little bit. Now I go to color balance, take a little bit of that red away. There we go. A little bit more warmth in the shadow. Which is not usually something I do. Usually I have to take the shadow and make it cooler. Now, hue saturation. Let's take all of the saturation down a little bit. There we go. So it feels more consistent with these colors and textures. Okay, next, the tusks. Far too yellow. Let's see if we can brighten them up a little bit. There we go. Heavier lighting. Stronger texture. Take them away from all the yellow, red, green. So I'm looking for what the white is, and I want to keep that from being any particular color. Just desaturate them a little bit. There we go. Now those tusks look pretty believable. Now to get the tusks to kind of stand out on the face a little bit, I think that's where this element's going to be helpful. But I want to play with the levels of that. I think I also want to play with the warp of it. Oops, wrong layer. I need it to fit onto the face. There we go. Yeah, that's looking better. In a way that feels organic, but also fits. And it feels very flat, but this should help to kind of cut this around it. Like wraps around. Not quite. All right, now let's play with those levels. Remember, midtones are always safe. It's the edges you have to be careful about. All right, and now this is a good place for that low opacity eraser, soft edged. Start blending this in a little bit to the structures that it's sitting on top of. So I don't want this growing from the face, I want this attached to the face. Dodge and burn can help with this as well. And I'm mostly treating the edges so that it all feels like it kind of sits appropriately. Now if I need to, I burn areas that I think need to be a little bit darker. To match the lighting. And to help that tusk pop out a bit. Burn a shadow around it. And I'm using Command